There are moments in life, quite strange moments, when the world suddenly feels hollow. You might be standing in a familiar room or driving down a common road, and for a split second, everything feels strangely designed, as if the texture of the carpet, the sound of the traffic, even your own thoughts, are all part of a hyper-realistic stage set. You look around and feel the immense weight of the physical world, its solidity, its seriousness, its undeniable separateness from you. And you realize this entire experience is somehow unfolding inside your mind. But if that's true, if the whole magnificent, crushing reality out there is in here, how can it feel so heavy? How can an idea feel like gravity? This is the paradox at the heart of the most foundational Hermetic principle, that the universe is not just alive, but mental. It claims that everything we see, touch, and measure, from distant galaxies to the quiet beat of your heart, arises entirely within a vast universal field of awareness, what the ancients called the All. Most people hear this and assume it's a form of escapism or magical thinking, but that misses the point entirely. This isn't a belief system, it's a description of the architecture of reality itself, a map that both ancient mystics and cutting-edge physicists seem to agree on. The principle doesn't ask us to deny the physical world, it asks us to realize that the physical is just a form that consciousness takes when it wants to feel dense, separate, and real. If this principle holds, then everything we take for granted about separation, matter, and fate must be re-examined. We are not just passengers inside a universe made of dead rock and cold space, we are experiencing a living thought. And the secret to unlocking this experience isn't learning new formulas, it's feeling its truth in the quiet space where your own thoughts begin. We'll explore what this truly means for you and how it changes the simple act of being here. I'm not here to ask you to believe anything. Belief isn't the point, what matters is the exploration itself. I've spent time digging through the Hermetic texts, the philosophy, and the science, so this conversation has real ground beneath it. This channel isn't about doctrines or absolute truths, it's just a shared investigation, more like sitting with a friend late at night drifting into the kind of questions we usually avoid. Because they feel too big, too strange, or too honest. If you want to keep exploring them together, you can subscribe so the conversation doesn't end here. The idea that the universe is fundamentally mental isn't one specific invention, it's an intuition that surfaces across different cultures and eras, almost like a structural necessity of profound thought. But its most influential articulation comes from the Hermetic tradition. The original Greek texts, particularly the Corpus Hermeticum, didn't state the principle exactly as the modern phrase, the all is mind. Instead, they focused on the concept of nous, a term best translated as divine mind, reason, or intellect, as the initial creative source. For the classical Hermetists, God or the all was a thinking, generative intelligence that poured itself out to create the cosmos. The universe wasn't just thought up, it was an expression of this living, active intellect. Contrast that with the modern popularized principle from the Kybalion, which simplifies this to, the all is mind, the universe is mental. This shift is significant. The Kybalion emphasizes the mental aspect, the universe as a collective thought, making it more accessible for personal practice and focusing on how our individual thoughts affect reality. The ancient texts, by contrast, focused on nous as the living consciousness that precedes all things. Yet, whether ancient or modern, the core notion survives: existence is rooted in something conscious, not something dead. This concept finds a surprising echo in contemporary physics. When scientists talk about the universe behaving like information, or when they debate the role of the observer in collapsing a quantum wave function, they are circling the same profound mystery: what is information if not a mental or mind-like substance? What is observation if not an act of consciousness? We live in a world that instinctively looks alive. We look up at the stars and sense a vast intelligence, not a cold vacuum. Segment 3. We sense this because perhaps the line between what is mental and what is physical is not a wall, but a membrane. It suggests that matter isn't the fundamental substance, it's simply a persistent, deeply felt experience arising from the flow of mind itself. It's easy to dismiss the Hermetic principle as some grand, abstract cosmic concept, something too vast to be relevant to your Monday morning. But the most profound argument for a mental universe isn't found by looking out at the stars, it's found by looking inward at the sheer strangeness of your own perception. Consider for a moment how reality actually reaches you. You don't experience the world directly, you experience a continuous, high-fidelity reconstruction happening inside the dark theater of your skull. Neuroscience confirms this. Your brain is an active prediction engine. It takes fragmented electrical signals, compares them to a lifetime of internal models, and then generates the world you see, hear, and feel. This is the predictive processing model, and it suggests that what you call reality is, on a fundamental level, a controlled hallucination. Your personal world is not out there waiting to be discovered, it is constantly being projected and refined by your mind. Your memory, your sense of self, the significance you assign to a conversation, it's all a mental construct. Even the solidity of that chair you're sitting on is a persistent mental agreement based on expected sensory feedback. If your expectation models change, your reality changes, even if the atoms don't. Think of a dream that feels utterly solid and real until the moment you wake up. This insight gives extraordinary weight to the Hermetic Principle. If the human mind is already constructing a seamless, physical feeling universe for itself every waking second, then the possibility of a cosmic mind constructing the shared, collective universe becomes far less of a philosophical leap. If your tiny individual awareness can create a vivid, contained world of experience, then what might the universal ground-level awareness be capable of? You are right now a mind within the universal mind, already experiencing a reality that is fundamentally mental. The challenge is not to intellectually accept this principle, the challenge is to notice how your mind does it, constantly, effortlessly, and without complaint. It shifts the question from, is the universe mental, to, how much of my current experience is my own mind's creation? If our individual minds generate a personal reality that feels utterly physical, where does the shared, objective reality come from? This is where the concept of the cosmic mind, the all, becomes unavoidable. Across every profound philosophical tradition, from Hermeticism to Advaita, thinkers arrive at the same conclusion: there must be a single universal substrate of consciousness that gives rise to everything. We aren't fragments that somehow came together to create reality, we are localized perspectives arising from an infinite unity. This universal mind isn't a giant entity floating somewhere in space. It is the field, the raw potential in which space itself appears. Think of it like the ocean. The ocean is the universal substance. Every individual mind is simply a wave, a local, temporary pattern of the ocean expressing itself. The wave has individuality, it has form, and it has an experience of being separate. But it is never for a single moment not the ocean. In modern theory, we see similar echoes. Physicist John Archibald Wheeler's famous phrase, "it from bit," suggests that physical reality emerges from information, which is fundamentally abstract and mind-like. Similarly, philosophical movements like analytic idealism propose that consciousness, not matter, is the foundational stuff of the universe. This isn't about belief, it's a rigorous, consistent metaphysical model suggesting that the universe is a unified, intelligent process, not a collection of inert, disconnected parts. The power of this idea is not in its abstraction but in its implication for belonging. Segment 5. If reality is a living, thinking process, and you are a local expression of that process, you are never truly separate. Your consciousness is the universe looking at itself through a temporary, individualized lens. The infinite mind is not something outside you, it is the awareness that allows you to read these very words. The biggest hurdle in truly sensing the mental nature of reality is that we feel so profoundly separate from it. If we are expressions of the cosmic mind, then why the boundary? Why the individuality? Why the illusion that I am here and the world is there? This is the paradox of the dreamer and the dream. In this model, the cosmic mind isn't just thinking the universe into existence, it is experiencing it. And to have an experience, you must have a local perspective, a character within the grand narrative. That character is you. You are the lens through which the infinite, undivided mind localizes itself to feel the texture of being finite, to know the warmth of a coffee cup, to feel the specific ache of separation, and to ultimately seek the memory of unity. The moment you realize this, the boundary between self and world begins to soften. The world is no longer something you bump into, but something that arises in the same fundamental awareness that is reading these words. It shifts your understanding of where you actually reside. You are not a physical body carrying a small spark of consciousness. You are consciousness expressing itself as this unique body with this unique set of memories and thoughts. This is the central teaching behind many mystical states, the experience of ego dissolution, non-dual awareness, or unity consciousness. Across diverse cultures, people who enter these profound states universally report that the solid sense of me vanishes, and they perceive reality not as external objects but as a seamless, living field of awareness. This isn't hallucination, it's the lens momentarily clearing, revealing the ground state. It is the dream character briefly recognizing its true identity as the dreamer. This recognition doesn't dissolve your sense of self, it expands it. It transforms your identity from a fragile, temporary collection of matter into an enduring localized wave of the infinite sea. The goal is not to escape the dream, but to live fully within it while remembering who or what you truly are. The Hermetic Principle is more than a cosmic curiosity, it's a manual for living. Once you sense, even faintly, that reality is not cold machinery but a living, aware field, how does your day-to-day existence change? The first shift is often emotional, a deep relaxation. The fear of external indifference, the sense that you are alone in a meaningless material universe, begins to soften. If the universe is fundamentally mental, then it is by definition intimate. You are not isolated, you are an essential piece of the mind's ongoing thought. This grants a quiet sense of belonging that doesn't require belief, only awareness. Next comes the change in your relationship with reality. If the world is a mental expression, your perspective and internal state become far more potent than previously imagined. It's about acknowledging your role in shaping the specific reality that unfolds for you. When you shift your interior state, moving from fear to curiosity, from scarcity to openness, you change the way the universal mind is localized within your unique experience. You stop fighting the world and start realizing you are part of its creation. This doesn't mean life stops being difficult. The suffering, the gravity, the challenges, they are still powerfully real, because the universal mind chose to experience density. But the suffering changes its texture. It transforms from something happening to an unfortunate particle of matter to an intense, localized experience being undergone by awareness itself. The greatest freedom comes from this simple realization: you don't need to try and change the world out there. When you find stillness, when you find presence, you're aligning your local consciousness with the vast, quiet intelligence from which everything arises. You stop feeling separate from mind, and the universe begins to feel alive again. The journey from the Hermetic Principle of Mentalism is not meant to end with a clear answer, but with an open space. We began by asking why a universe that is supposedly mental feels so stubbornly physical and separate. And the only realization that truly satisfies is this: the reality of the universe is not that it is mental, but that it arises within mind. The reason the world feels solid, heavy, and separate is because the universal mind, the all, willed itself to be experienced this way. It chose to generate the feeling of density so that it could experience surprise, friction, and separation. Just so it could eventually experience the profound relief of recognizing its unity again. You are not an accident. You are not a traveler lost in an indifferent space. You are the space itself, momentarily believing you are the object. The true power of this ancient secret lies not in the claim that everything is a thought, but in the intimate, quiet realization that everything that is happening inside consciousness, and you are that consciousness looking back. This sense of sacred uncertainty, this feeling of quiet awe, is where our shared journey pauses. It leaves us standing at the edge of a new question: if reality arises within this living, intelligent field of mind, What other aspects of ourselves have we fundamentally mistaken as separate? What other immense possibilities are quietly waiting for us to remember who the dreamer really is? We'll walk further next.